guys, welcome back. If you are new here, hello, my name is Miranda and I am so glad you're here. I'm so glad you found me. Go ahead and hit that little red subscribe button down below. That way you're just officially a part of my family here on YouTube. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. That way I know to make more videos like this. So let's get right into this. So the last video that I uploaded was just talking a little bit about my new POTS diagnosis, and don't worry, I've had a few people ask me if I'm gonna hop back into like fashion videos. That's what I absolutely love. So of course I'm going to be doing more of that. I'm hopping back in full force here. I have a 4-month-old, so things are kind of crazy along with my other 2 children, but I'm honestly trying to do the best that I can. Today I'm just gonna be answering a few POTS questions that you guys have had. I asked for some questions in my last video and I got quite a few, so I picked a handful and I'm just gonna be reading them off my phone. I am sorry if I pronounce anybody's name wrong, but the first question here, I believe it's from Domenica. It's a very cool name and I'm probably pronouncing it very wrong. How did you go about getting a diagnosis? And I think I kind of covered this in my previous video, but I'll just answer it really quick. Basically, after I had my son, I got diagnosed with postpartum preeclampsia. Not really sure if that was the correct diagnosis. My blood pressure was high and I had a headache. After coming home from being on magnesium, right away when I stood up, I was fine until I got home, and then I was sitting on the couch and I went to go stand up. So it was that same night after getting back from the hospital, and I've never felt anything like that, where normally if I put my hand on my wrist, I can count how fast my heart's going, and it was going so fast that I couldn't even count it, and I had to sit right back down. I kind of figured it was maybe just from being on the magnesium or that sort of thing, and no, it just kept continuing, and so I went to my primary doctor, and he, you know, at first we kind of thought it was maybe just anxiety. I think he did throw in POTS, which is awesome because I know it takes so many doctors usually to get diagnosed. So I love my new primary doctor. I just started seeing him this last year, and he's really great. I'm very thankful for him. So he is knowledgeable in POTS. I do think he said that I was his first POTS patient that he's diagnosed, but nonetheless, he knows what he's talking about. And also, I had been messaging with my cardiologist. I've already had a cardiologist before all this, and they recommended that I go see a POTS specialist at their heart clinic instead of the normal broad cardiologist that I was seeing. So that's kind of how I got my diagnosis, just from the symptoms that I had, talking with my primary doctor and my cardiologist. And then going about getting diagnosed, pretty much I just went from like sitting to standing in the clinic, and my heart rate went well over the 30 beats per minute, and that's how I got diagnosed. Okay, this next question is from Michelle. How do you manage your symptoms? And this is tricky because POTS is very unpredictable. So you can be doing the exact same things, all the things right that you're supposed to be doing, and still have flare-ups. So that's very frustrating. But I think the biggest things that help me manage my symptoms are I take a beta blocker, just a low dose. I can take it up to 4 times a day, or probably more if I need to, but I for sure always take it every morning before I get up. I take it probably about a half hour before I have to like get up out of bed, so that gives it a little bit of time to work. And then I always take another dose around 2 p.m. So those are always for sures. Probably once a week or so I take 3 a day, and then really bad days, you know, I can take 4 a day. So I probably think that's the biggest thing that's helped me. Getting a diagnosis has helped me as well, because before I thought I was just dying, and now that I know that it is POTS, it helps me understand it better. So I know I'm not dying, I just know like my heart's healthy, this is just POTS and it sucks, but I'm okay. So that honestly helps me manage the symptoms because I don't worry so much and I don't go down a spiral. Let's see, drinking a lot of water. And it can't just be water either. You have to make sure you got some electrolytes with that. I love Liquid IV. It's been a game changer for me. I drink at least 2 a day, sometimes 4. I really love it. And I actually don't even like to drink my water without it aside from that. I just think they taste so, so, so good. The strawberry and the guava, I don't even know how you say it. Definitely my favorite. If you don't want to get liquid IV and you just want to make sure that your body's holding onto the water better, just like a little salt over your hand, whatever, a little teaspoon of it. And it doesn't have to be a full teaspoon. Just some salt with your water will make a huge, huge difference. I know there's lots of other electrolyte packets out there, so if you don't like liquid IV or you want to try something else, I know there's tons. Just give it a Google search. And there are other options too, Gatorade, Propel, those have electrolytes in it as well. So definitely staying very, very well hydrated, the beta blocker, just knowing I have a diagnosis, and eating small, frequent meals. So I never sit down anymore and have like a Thanksgiving-sized dinner. That just sets a huge trigger of symptoms for me. Also, really fatty, greasy, high carbohydrated foods are awful. So what works for me is low sugar, high protein, you know, relatively high sodium. Those types of foods make me feel my best. Coping strategies for bad days mentally. That's a really, really good question because it is very hard to deal with this mentally, knowing that it might never go away or get better. What helps me the most mentally, first of all, knowing other people go through this helps a person not feel so alone. It's a crappy feeling inside too though, knowing other people are going through it, but I think mentally knowing you're not alone really does help. Just like, hey, there's other people that are going through this. Some of them, you know, have it a lot worse than I do too, and they're still making it every day. They're still waking up each morning and going through their day. Sure, the days might be hard, but you're still getting through them. And then also, you know, I think it's not good to think this way, but I think everybody does. Wondering why some people get so lucky. You know, they never have to be on any kind of prescription medications, just go about living their life, not having to worry about their heart rate or their blood pressure, feeling dizzy and light, like they just get to be. I know everybody's got their own struggles. However, it does beat me up sometimes or knock me down thinking that way. And I had a friend once when I was having a hard time to tell me that nobody knows what's gonna happen tomorrow. One of those friends that you're envying, you know, could wake up the next morning and find a lump and realize they have cancer, or get in a car accident. Just nobody knows what tomorrow is gonna bring. Nobody knows what the next minute, second is gonna be. And so I think just realizing these are the hands I've been dealt with, whether it's fair or not. I'm alive and healthy, having POTS. I believe you're still, I like to consider myself still a healthy person. Just, how do I explain that? I'm trying to think of like a good analysis, but I like to think of myself as a healthy person even though I'm dealing with all these symptoms, because all my blood work looks great, my heart checks out great, you know, everything checks out perfect. That's why this is so hard to get diagnosed. So, and I know POTS, there's a lot of underlying health conditions you can have with it. However, just trying to look at the little bits of bright side. If don't think like, gosh, I'm so, you know, frustrated that I can't do everything that I used to be able to do. Instead, look at what you've done that day. Like, you know, did you take a shower? Did you play with your kids? Were you able to read them a book? Think about what you did do and not what you can't do. That seems to help me a lot. Okay, Melissa asks, how do you wake up every day knowing this will never go away? I think that kind of, the previous question, my answer kind of answers this question as well. I think you just have to realize that nobody knows what that day is going to bring for them. Everybody has to deal with something. Really, I know you shouldn't think, I get irritated when people tell me this, but knowing that other people have it worse really does kind of help me. Like, I'm really glad I'm not terminally ill. I'm really glad that I am able to do what I can do. And just keep pushing through every day. Like, we're all in this together and it's gonna be okay. Do you know, okay, let's see here. Do you know why your POTS started? I read often there are no underlying causes. For me, it came out of nowhere, was healthy as can be. Like I said in my previous POTS video, I think I've kind of had this, you know, for years, but I really think what triggered it to get so bad was the birth of my son, Rhett. He was born in September, and like, you know, a few days after is when everything got horrible. So for me, I think it was the birth of my son. I know stress is a big trigger. I've heard of a lot of people being really stressed out. Having illnesses like mono or a really bad case of the flu can cause it. And now they're even saying, you know, COVID-19 can cause, or, you know, after you are done with COVID-19, you can then develop POTS. And it's, yeah, I don't think that they know a ton about it yet, but I think that childbirth for me was what caused it. Okay, Tori asked, why don't doctors look for the underlying cause of POTS and other autoimmune illnesses? I can't really speak on this too much because I feel like my doctor truly did. We ran every possible test that I know, everything came back perfect, and this was the only thing we could find wrong. Along with my cardiologist, they ran a bunch of different tests, a bunch of blood work, everything came back good. My cardiologist also sent me to an endocrinologist who ran tests. So for me personally, I feel like we kind of ruled everything else out. Probably not everything else, but the majority. So I feel really bad. I'm surprised that a doctor would go like straight to a POTS diagnosis and not try a bunch of other things first. And I don't think for every POTS case, there doesn't have to be underlying issues. I know that a lot of times there are. And just silly little things like being double jointed makes you more likely to get POTS, which is so weird because I'm double jointed. Everybody has always commented like my elbows can go weird and I can twist my hand all the way around. I always thought that was so cool, showing everybody growing up like, hey look, I can twist my hand all the way around. And that actually is one of the things that makes you more likely to develop POTS. So I have made connections like that, but as far as an actual other illness, I personally don't think I have anything else going on, but I know a lot of people do. And I think if you are worried about or wondering what the underlying cause of your POTS is, go ask your doctor to run the test. And if they say no, I would find a different doctor. Gosh, I'm gonna butcher these names. Siobhan asked, how can you have a healthy sodium-packed diet that won't hinder or promote other health issues? Examples, diabetes, high cholesterol, etc. This is a question I've wondered myself, and I definitely am going to be asking my doctor and my cardiologist next time I see them, just because I'm genuinely curious. My plan is to eat the high sodium, like they've said, because they're doctors, you know, cardiologists, they went to a lot of school, and I truly don't think they're gonna be telling me to eat so much extra sodium if they think it's going to cause all these awful things. Now, I think it's very important to have blood work done every year just to kind of see where you're at, make sure your electrolytes aren't crazy high now that you're, you know, maybe supplementing on those, make sure your sodium is still in line, or even every 6 months if you're more comfortable. So that's my plan, is just to talk to my doctor and my cardiologist, have my blood work done every 6 months to a year, and if my blood pressure or my blood work starts to get off, that would be when I would start to worry about that. But in the meantime, it's helping me, you know, increasing my sodium, so I'm gonna keep doing that. Okay guys, I've answered a handful of questions here, and I don't want this video to get ridiculously long. If you would like me to do another video answering some more questions, I would be happy to. Just remember, I am not a doctor, obviously. Don't take anything that I say as medical advice. This is just things that have worked for me, my thoughts, my opinions. Always talk to your doctor, always, always, always. So I'm gonna end with that, and I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye.